we're getting ready to sell this car, and I'm trying to get all the check engine lights off of it, so we can sell it with a clear mind. I just would rather them not put all this junk on here and just tune the cars up to run as good as they could without all this emissions junk. So, my opinion. Alright, please like, share, subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up if this helped. Alright, today what we're working on is a 2009 Volkswagen Jetta. It's got a 2.5 liter engine in it, the straight 5. What we've been having is a insufficient flow for the secondary air system, which is this pump right here. What it does is it sits down in this little, you see that little round area right there? That pump actually sits right down in there, and it has this line and, let's see, this one here. And this one connects to the top of the pump and connects to the intake. This is your intake hose for the fresh air, and then it goes through the pump, and then high pressure air comes out this line, goes to the back, and goes through this valve here and dumps into the exhaust to warm up the catalytic converter quicker on cold starts. So I've been having the signal, the code, which I'm not sure of actually the code yet, it's a P something. But it keeps saying it's insufficient flow, so I thought I'd go ahead and make this just to see if I could help somebody else out there. What it is it appears like on mine, which I think is most of the time the problem, is going to be the pump has went bad. I've already replaced the pump once in the past, and it did it again, and it's saying it's insufficient flow, so I took the pump out. I already bought a new one because they're like $70 from the aftermarket world, so I went ahead and bought another one and had it coming out before I took this apart. I put it up on the bench and bench tested it, and it barely wants to turn at all. So I was checking my wires the first thing this morning before I actually took the pump out. This is the relay right here. So when you open the box up, it's going to be sitting in there just like that. There's two 100s, and this is going to be the actual pump relay, and then back here I've got it out, but it will sit in there just like this. And this is the pump fuse, and when I was checking it, they make it hard to tell, but it is burnt in two underneath that 40 there. You kind of see it right there. So I checked it, and there was no voltage going through it. So when I crossed I just jumped the hot wire from this terminal here, which is your hot coming into there, and this is supposed to be your outgoing to the fuse, and then goes down, back down the motor. So what I did is I crossed it over from this terminal straight over to this one, which should be feeding the engine, and it just kept shocking, spitting out. You know, it wouldn't do anything, it wouldn't turn the motor on. So from that point I was pretty sure there was either a wiring problem or the motor was bad. So I went ahead and pulled the motor, and it was. So I'm going to put the new motor in now. It's a good idea to bench test this first before you put it in, and also, if you can do it, to actually smoke test it as well, because a lot of times this plastic cover is going to leak around all these screws. You can see where I took this one off, and I've actually formed a gasket it all the way around just so it wouldn't. You just have to be really careful and not get it into the blades, or it's going to lock the motor up and burn it out pretty fast. So just make sure that, let's see, make sure those little splines down in there, you can see it right there. Just stick a screwdriver in there and make sure they turn if you do that, because most of the time from the aftermarket world those are going to leak a little bit if you smoke test them. So yeah, I'm going to get ready to reinstall it. Hopefully this fixes everything, because I've already put on, since I already changed the pump about about 6 months ago. I didn't think it was going to be pumped, so I changed this out. That's the combination valve, and it opens and closes and lets the pump the fresh air in. And once that cycle is done, it closes up so the exhaust can't come back through to the pump. So I've already changed that out, and I still have the same code. And the problem with this thing is you can't turn the system on unless you jump wire it. You know, they don't have some cars nowadays, they have a test cycle it can go through if you do all the pedals and stuff right. This one I cannot find anything like that for it, so I was basically left the old technology, just trying to jump the wires over, see if it did. And luckily that gave me my answer that the fuse was blown, so there's probably a problem with the motor, and it was. So we're getting ready to put the new one in. Hopefully this fixes everything. There's another thing I wanted to mention. If you're getting that, if you're getting a insufficient flow or a pressure too high or too low indication, there is possibly going to be this switch back right in here. I've already got the upgraded, there's actually an upgraded version for this. We've already got it installed by the previous owner, and you can see it right there. The new one is like a square, it just snaps right in, and the old style had 2 screws on each side of it, if you're wondering. So the old style is going to have the 2 screws, the new one just snaps right back down in. You do have to get a whole new tube and everything because it doesn't fit where the old one's screwed on. You have to get a whole new tube, and that usually comes with the new kit. And if you're getting a insufficient flow problem or code, you probably will also want to check very thoroughly this line here. Make sure all these ribs, usually it cracks right around here because it's up against the block and it starts drying this plastic out. So just kind of pull it, make sure no cracks open up. You're going to probably have to take it all the way off. There's a clip here and it snaps on back there, and basically after you undo that, this snap right here is a squeeze. Just squeeze them together and it pops right off there. And then this one, it's just got this clip here, just pop it back and it pops up out. And then visually inspect it. If everything looks okay, then you probably will want to jump the 2 wires. Like I said, it will be, let's see here. Let's see where I've got this little test lead down in here. That's what I use. I just stick it down in there, then I could jump my wires directly across. So this is going to be your incoming line. This is going to be your hot 12 volt coming in, and this will be your 12 volts going out. This is all just, don't mind, or you don't have to worry about the ground. It's all on another system. This is just all the hots right here. So hot comes into the relay right here. These two just turn the relay on and off, and this line just goes directly over when the switch is thrown. Goes through here, back to your fuse, crosses through your fuse, and goes down to the motor. So you could try jumping this one to this one, and if that doesn't work, you could try jumping this one directly back to that one right there at the very back far corner. And if you get sparks every single time you try to hit it, then your motor's going to be locked up, and you're going to have to dig your way down in there to get it out. Your throttle body sits right here. It's got 4 screws all the way around. I think they're T25s. Take all those screws out. There's a wire that connects to the bottom of it, and you pull back and it lifts that little thing in there, and then it will slide off. So you just pull back on that little tab there on top. Just pull back and then slide the whole thing back. Once you got that off, there are 2 nuts. It's hard to see. Here's one hole right there. So there's going to be 2 nuts you're going to take off. One's going to be there, the other one's up here on top. Find that. Alright, it's going to be two somewhere. So there's going to be four of these rubber mounts all the way around the motor. So that one's there. There's one up here, and there's another one. And all these mounts here, right there. So there's 1, 2, and 3. They're all going just like this. This one's just so hard to get to. It's best to leave this one and move the engine up, or motor up off of it, and then slide it out and just leave that one. If the rubber is bad, you're going to have to take that one off, but just wait until after you remove the whole engine out. Put that one back on and then slide the motor back down over that one, and then slide the two back into those two holes there. And that's the motor connector right there, and you can see these two little prongs. The wire that's on the motor is supposed to slide up onto those two prongs there. Alright. The easiest way to actually get to those nuts is from the back side, the intake over here. I've used this. You get all the way across there, and you're just going to have to fish it through and find the two nuts. Sometimes you can get your hand back down underneath there. You got a small enough hand, and you can kind of find one or two of them. The other one, once you get the throttle body out of the way, you can fish your hand up through here and find this top one right here. So you can get that one. You can either feel for the wrench from the other side and help it on there, or you can use a flex head ratchet if you got it, and get down in there and get to the front side of the motor and ratchet it from this side and do it there. Alright. And if your 2.5 is running a little rough, you'll probably want to go ahead and check your PVC valve that's right here. They sell a kit, and you just undo all the snaps, pop it off, and you buy the new one and it snaps right on there. If you don't break the old cap, I'd recommend using the old cap back on there and just change out the diaphragm inside and the spring. If you go look for a PVC valve kit, it will look just like that. It'll have the cap and the diaphragm and a spring, and you just have to pop it off. There's these little slip over tabs. Just get you a screwdriver and stick down and just start and work around. And once you get it all the way from one side to the other, there's a few snaps on the bottom. Don't worry about those. You can just kind of pull it down and it'll snap off over those. Alright. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later.